Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Pick Brian's Brain. Hey, we're outdoors. Who can complain? Look at the sunshine. We are outdoors. God, I'm so glad to be outdoors. It gets really boring teaching all these behaviors and talking to you guys indoors all the time. I love the wild. Grew up in Alaska. Love being out just where we are now. Currently, right now, we are in Memphis, Tennessee at Shelby Farms. If you live in this local area, definitely encourage you to visit here because this is a great asset that this city has. Great place to take your dogs, great place to do training. You can go horseback riding here. There's a lovely restaurant that they have. Incredible park. But today, I want to talk to you about one of the most important behaviors you can teach your dog. Come to me when I call you. Come to me when I call you. What other behavior could actually be more important than that for quality of life for you and your dog? Now, I get it. I have lots of clients who they live downtown. They live in a really tight urban area. And it is never their desire to have their dog off leash in an uncontrolled environment like this park. They're just going to go to a dog park, and I get that, or take them to a daycare. But for all of those of you who love the great outdoors, you want to go hiking in the mountains to primitive areas, not these little local state parks. Oh my gosh, I'm talking about out into the wild. You've got to be able to have your dog off leash trained. You try to take your dog on a trail. I've done this not hundreds of times, but thousands of times. And your long line is tangled up in briars around the trees. The dog cuts back in your direction. You'll spend the entire day simply trying to cover a few miles because your dog is continuously tied to you or connected to you. A lot of mishaps can happen as well. If a dog falls off the edge of a ravine, the dog's more than capable in most cases of grabbing that ravine and kind of saving themselves. But the next thing you know, you're off balance and there you go. But just for regular fun, I'm just telling you, quality of life, exercise, that's quality of life for me. When my cattle dog or when my Siberian Husky puppy, when they're tired, because they've been chasing a ball or just running around, I'm happy. I'm a happy man. And I keep looking over my shoulder here because my cattle dog is right here. This is Captain here. There you go. He's going to be 4 years old, come up here real soon, and he's a lovely dog, and he has a high quality of life because why? I can actually let him loose. Now over here is Joshua's dog, Vesper, you'll see over there. Joshua, call Vesper, please. Vesper, come. Isn't that a lovely thing? That is really, really neat. So not is it just important to have that for quality of life, but also for safety. Just the dog's safety and your safety and other people's safety. Case in point, your dog bolts out your front door. Why? Because it's used to chasing the mailman, used to chasing the FedEx person or charging the door. And suddenly one day the door is open. There goes your dog right out that door. Wouldn't it be nice to say, come, and have the dog immediately stop and return back to you? Incredible. Again, I keep using that word incredible because for me, and at least for all the clients that I've dealt with that have problems associated with their dog not being able to return to them reliably because it either got out of the yard by accident or was let loose on purpose, I hear about those every day. And every single one of them say, I wish my dog would have come back to me when I called it. If they were capable of doing that, then most of the problems that we deal with would not occur because we as humans would have absolute total control over our dogs. All right, so let's get started with that just a little bit here. But actually, before we do that, I only have 2 questions to answer this week. So I'm going to go ahead and cover those, get those out of the way so I can put my little easel down here and we can get started with Come and Call. Okay, so right off the bat, I've got a question from Marilyn. And Marilyn wrote in this week and asked, well, first of all, she told me, she goes, Brian, my dog loves ice cubes. But I have read online and heard from other people that giving my dog ice is harmful to it. Is it okay to give a dog ice? Okay, Marilyn, not at you, at that internet, and at those people who told you it's harmful. I'm going to do my best impression to do the best eyeball roll I can do. Are you kidding me? It's just really cold water. All right, so I hope that answers that question. Now, Jason also writes in. Jason goes, Brian, my dog's a 4-month-old lab, and he keeps biting my hands when I play tug-of-war with him. How do I stop him from biting my hands? All right, a couple things about that, Jason, we want to take into account right off the bat. 1, 4 months old. 4 months old, let's think about that. I preach all the time that dogs, and guys, hear this one more time, are slow, maturing mammals. Say it with me one more time. Slow, maturing mammals. We have to put that in our heads. So at 4 months of age, do you think that a wolf cub or a dog pup is supposed to have the athletic skill set to target precisely on a tug, to target right between this handle and that handle and not get your hands? I wish they did, but they don't. Why? Because mom and dad are still supposed to be taking care of them, providing for their needs, provisionary care, not just along with protective care. Meaning it's mom and dad's responsibility to accurately pinpoint a mouse 1 foot below snow in the subnivean space, target it, dive in there, and get it precisely. It's their job to catch the back hindquarters of a large caribou or elk precisely so as not to get kicked by the hoof, but also not to allow it to get away. That's their job. And they can do that job because they are physically mature. Their brain is finished developing. Their bodies have finished developing. They are now able to encompass an incredible athletic skill set that allows them to do that. So think about this, Jason. I don't know if you have children or not, but when my son was growing up, he was a really avid soccer player, but not when he was little. So let's take 4-month-old dog. What is a 4-month-old dog athletic skill set compared to a child? Probably about 5 or 6 years old. All right, so I take this soccer ball and I throw it. And sometimes I just simply wanted him to catch it. Other times maybe try and knee it. Chest bounce. All that stuff you do in soccer. Well, none of that happened. That thing bounced off his forehead. He went to lift his knee, over he goes, and it went right through his hands. Why? Because he's not required to have that skill set yet. Nature is not thinking about soccer with young human mammals. And she's not thinking about tug-of-war with young pups. At least not from the point that you have to have pinpoint accuracy. Because why? You're being fed. Now later, that accuracy will develop. Because nature is planning on you, little 4-month-old lab puppy, and that young child to grow to a point to where they're no longer going to accept or be able to benefit from the provisional gifts of their parents. They will have to go out on their own. So that same boy that I threw that soccer ball to, that bounced off his head, didn't even get near his chest, went somewhere back behind him, never touched the knee. Fast forward a couple of years. Now he's catching about 50% of the balls. Now they're starting to hit the chest. The knee, about 50 to 60% of the time, accuracy. Fast forward 4 more years. Now I have a 12, 13-year-old boy. Spot on. He caught all of them. Now he's doing headbutting with the ball, driving it right into the net, juggling with his knees and the bottom of his feet. In other words, his body has matured. His brain has matured. The coordination between eyes and hands and feet have all connected their dots in the brain neurons. Everything is coming together. Nature says, forget about the soccer kid. Be ready to go out into the world and provide for yourself and soon your own offspring. So that's the first thing I want you to always consider. Any of you guys out there that like to play tug-of-war with your dogs, and by the way, if you read that junk on the email, on the internet that says don't play tug-of-war, it creates aggression, If I'm an expert in any area, it is definitely canine aggression. It does not promote canine aggression. Wolves play tug of war. Dogs play tug of war with one another. We can play tug of war with them. The issue is when you can't stop playing tug of war. And the dog says, no, I want to keep playing. Or the dog won't give it back when it's time to stop playing. Now all of a sudden you reach to take the tug of war toy and now the dog tries to bite you. Now that's not an errant miss like we're having with the 4-month-old lab puppy. That is a flat out give it back. That's called competitive aggression. The evolutionary rule of mine, not yours. All right, so Jason, here's how you get this thing done. First, be patient. 4 months old. You want to play a little tug of war with your dog? Couple of things. One, have a toy in which you can kind of move your hands out of the way. I use a towel a lot of times, a big old towel. One of the ones that we now use to probably wipe off the car when we wash it. Something like that. You can get your hand a long ways away and dangle it in front of the dog and now keep those hands out of the way. If you use a tug like this that has handles, grab the handles or grab the outer edges. And then you do the targeting for the young dog. Remember last week as well when I talked about vision? Dogs have a wide field of vision, but what they give up for that is bifocal vision. So there's a blind spot right off the end of that nose, a blind spot. Therefore, the dog will have to guess within the last few inches of the tug where to grab. And that means it's vital that right about here, the animal sees the target. That's your job to actually feed him the target. So I don't really play a lot of tug of war with Captain because he likes a B-A-L-L. Now, again, a lot of times people say, why are you spelling? Dogs can't spell. Trust me, he can't. If I say the word ball, I'm going to get into a lot of trouble here with Captain because that's all he's going to focus on. But right now, I'm going to try and dangle this. So right off the bat, hey, wait, I want to play? I'm going to try and get him to play for a little bit here. Come on. Yeah, boy, good. So right here, you can see this is an older dog. Captain, come here. And just kind of feed it to him. Feed it to him a little bit. But again, his interest is in a ball. So Joshua, can I have you demonstrate? Now his dog is a Belgian Malinois, loves to play tug. Okay, so show me a little bit about how you started it. I understand that Vesper's older, but show how you started it.
Well, first when she was a young pup, I actually taught her that this was the goal by keeping my hands out of the equation. And then once she understood that this was the goal, then I actually started putting my hands in the equation real close, and if she touched her teeth to my fingers, game ended immediately. So then she started being a little bit more precise with getting her mouth on the toy. And you can see here in a second, I'll show you, I will cover the entire toy with my hands and she'll nibble anywhere and everywhere other than my hands. But so the goal is to first of all, keep your hands out of the equation, teach the dog what to bite first.
And about what age was she that you started to correct her for biting your hands?
6 months.
About 6 months. So a couple months away, Jason, just a couple months. We got to let them get a little bit older first, then we can start to do that. All right, demonstrate real quick. Got it. Yeah. You see my dog wants to get involved. All right, very good. Now, can I have you stop right there? Another important thing, guys. Remember I said there's really two major things to consider about playing tug of war. One we've covered about the hands being out of the equation, coming back into the equation. Number two, teach your dog to spit out of its mouth anything that you say, including you, especially a young puppy, if it's biting you, out. Drop it, leave it, give. Come up with a command. Be consistent, stereotype the signal. It's always important. Number two, teach them to release. And that's everything from that tug toy to a ball to something harmful that they have in their mouth. It doesn't matter. When you say out, that behavior needs to occur right then. That allows you to end the tug of war game like Joshua has and totally control it. Keep it under control. The second that Vesper starts to get out of control, he ends it. Game over. It's done. All right, if you'll show one more time, Joshua. tell her to let go.
Out.
And you see how quickly that happens. Okay, so Jason, I hope that helps you. Just A, think about maturity. Remember, they can't target really early in life. They're going to bite your hands. Think about teaching them a command that says, whatever's in your mouth that I find undesirable right at this moment, spit it out. And then slowly we start to correct the dog when it makes mistakes. And when that happens, now the dog will start to pull together. But all this occurs over time. All over time. It takes about a year. Most dogs have to be well over a year of age before they have any ability to target halfway as good as what Vesper's doing right here. And guys, going back to nature, 1 year of age is about that time that most wolf cubs are really have either survived a hard winter and they're providing for themselves. They are getting nothing handed to them any longer. Okay, hope that answers those questions there. Let's move on to come when called. Come when called. All right, let me cover a couple fundamentals, if you will, real quick. Right, you guys knew you weren't going to get away with me doing a little doodling. I always have to doodle. Ever since I was a little kid, I would doodle on everything. I would draw on things, draw on my books. I'm a little bit of an artist. I love to draw. I love to paint. That's the creative part of my little brain there. But let's talk about come when called. First things first, remember our semiotic triangle. Notice there's no lines, but there is going to be a sign. What is a sign or a signal? That is the trigger that I provide with the intent of influencing the dog's behavior. So in other words, if I say come, the intent behind that signal is to motivate the dog to go from point A out there somewhere to point B right here in front of me, under control. In the beginning, when the dog has never heard this command before, there is no interpretation. And of course, there's no referent because I've never done it before. That would be like me saying to you, Scoobernog. Now I'm sitting here staring at the lens of this camera, waiting for a response, and I'm not getting any. And I probably could wait all day long. Reason being, you cannot interpret Scoobernog. So we teach come. When we do, in the beginning, there will be a dotted line between the signal and the interpretation. A dotted line. I'll make it a little bigger. Then there will start to become a solid line between the interpretation and the referent because I've done it many times. And then there will be a dotted line down here between the referent and the sign. When your dog is coming to you the way Vesper did to Joshua's dog just a few moments ago, then that means there's a solid line all the way around. The triangle is complete. Meaning he says come, the dog's interpretation is to return to him. The referent is because I've done it many times before. The behavior is a set behavior. That's how it gets done. Okay, over and over again. Come, interpretation, come to you. Referent, do it over and over again. But here's the important thing about the referent. Otherwise, you will continue to have a dotted line. Meaning, anytime I show a dotted line on a semiotic triangle, that means there's conceptual distance. That means the behavior's not learned all the way. There's some vagueness associated with it. Now here's how that vagueness sets in. 1, rules on signals. A, stereotype them. So if the command is Captain come, Vesper come, that is always the command. It's not Captain here today, Captain come tomorrow, Captain come here the day after that. You must provide a very stereotyped signal. Then, not only is it your responsibility to provide a stereotyped signal, but your job is to ensure that you get a stereotyped response. Meaning S1, signal 1, come. The response is R1 to signal 1. Return back to you. Come to you. But see, here's what happens here in America a lot. Yeah, I'm picking on us Americans because we're always in a hurry. We're always impatient. So we do this. Yeah, we make it happen. Put the dog on a long line like I'm going to demonstrate in a little bit. And we just start going through the steps. But then we get lazy. Then all of a sudden the dog's out in the backyard. It's starting to rain. You took your shoes off a little while ago and you don't want to walk out there. In other words, the dog is no longer under your control. But you bend over and you say come and you do all this stuff and you hope that your dog will come to you. And by golly, sometimes it does. Why? Why? Let me write on here real quick. With every action, every behavior that a dog does, those two words go off in its head. Cost versus benefit. Again, cost versus benefit with every single behavior, every single one of them. So now you go outside, you don't have a long line on your dog, you don't have the ability to guarantee the response, and you go, Fido, come, I have a dog biscuit. Well, if Fido associates a benefit with that dog biscuit, if Fido really wants that dog biscuit, then you may get Fido to come back to you. But should Fido decide at that moment the benefit is chasing the squirrel that ran up the oak tree in your backyard, or the benefit is hanging out over there by the back wall and barking at the dog on the other side of it, or running across the street to the children playing with a soccer ball, then your dog does it. It does R2, response 2. It goes away from you. And then sometimes you call your dog and you can't make it happen. Your dog looks at you like you're stupid. And it doesn't move at all. So over a period of time, you saying come and not making it happen, not stereotyping the response, here's what happens. The dog soon learns that there's actually 3 responses that are allowed. R1, R2, and R0. And they will assign the benefit to any of these and do that behavior. So it's kind of like asking one question and having 3 multiple choice answers, but all 3 are correct. And there you go. That ends up a dog who comes occasionally. And that's what a lot of people get. They tell me all the time, well, Brian, my dog comes to me sometimes. Of course it does. I'm hungry. It's hot out here. It's cold out here. It's raining. Oh, I don't want to get my paws wet. Of course it came then. Right? But the other times, no. It's nice out here. It's beautiful. There's a lot of stuff to pee on out here in the park. So it doesn't come to you. It goes that way. And other times, oh, I'm enjoying the sun. It's so nice. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And no, I'm not coming in there. It's boring and dark in there. And besides that, you're going to put me in a cage. Okay, so that's just some of the training fundamentals. Not only do you have to stereotype the signal, you must stereotype the response. Okay, that's just a fundamental. I don't care what you do, what methodology you even think of, just know this. You can't leave it up to your dog to assign the benefit. If you want a reliable come when called, the one that happens every single time you call the dog, there must be a cost involved. There has to be something that says you must come to me when I call you, and it must happen all the time. Even if you didn't apply a cost, even if you didn't say, no, get over here. If you just reeled your dog and you say, come, and you reel them in, come, and you reel them in, and you use the long line like this right here, a long line, and I constantly attach it to my dog, and I say, come, and I reel it in, hand over hand. Dog will rise, good dog. I give reward. Over a long period of time, and how long, really, that depends upon the age of the dog, its development, its intelligence. A lot of factors are involved with that. But even if you just did that, you would eventually have a dog who would come to you every single time you call it, because any behavior that is stereotyped, meaning signal and outcome, will become fixed. It will become a fixed action pattern. And I always use that good old red light because I love it. The light turns red, I come to a stop. I'm talking to Kira on the phone while I'm driving. I don't have to get off the phone and say, excuse me, honey. Hey, Foot, get off the gas and press the brake. I just seemingly come to a stop because it's fixed. The signal that says stop has always been the color red. Always been in a little rectangular box over an intersection called a complex signal. And the response, at least for me, I stopped my car. So there you go. If they changed that thing up and said, hey man, we got to start going on those red lights and stopping on green lights, get off the road because I'm going to kill a whole bunch of people. So again, if you're real queasy about applying a cost, meaning a correction, then simply just make sure you reel your darn dog in every single time. But know this, it's going to take you 2 to 3 times longer at a minimum. And then also just one more splitting hairs here real quick, because I always get a little deep in things. When your dog wants to pee on that tree, wants to chase that squirrel, wants to go after that other dog, and you call it and you make it come back here because you're reeling it in like a big old tuna, that is a correction. Because why? You're inhibiting your dog from doing what it wants. So it is a correction. Again, I always tell people, get over it. Because all you people who say that you use positive only, you're lying. Okay? It's not true. You just aren't thinking it deep enough. You're thinking on some one little one-dimensional level when that thing's about 20 dimensions deep. So get over it. Okay, so another couple things about this. One, this behavior is going to take you a little longer to teach than something that's as easy as sit or lie down or even walking with you. Those behaviors I just mentioned are very natural. Natural. Dogs do it. Wolves do it. They travel with one another. They sit. They lie down. But you know what wolves don't do? They don't call wolves. They don't send a signal to another wolf that they can see that is implied, hey wolf, you over there, get up and come to me. They don't do that. In the blog that I'm writing right now and hope to have out here in the next few days called I See, I Learn, part of we covered last week on Facebook Live, but now I'm getting a little deeper in the blog, talks about this. Wolves have proven to be extremely successful predators in a virtually silent world. Silent world. Meaning their prey does not announce their presence to wolves that they're over here. And wolves likewise don't announce their presence and say, we're here. Because for either to do so, the prey ends up being killed and eaten by the apex predator. But when the apex predator gets to yap in their mouth all the time, their prey leaves the vicinity. And now I have to expend more energy to go get that energy. And when you start expending that much energy to get that much energy, you won't be on the planet Earth for very long. So of course wolves got smart. They said, hey, if I need you to do something for me, I will use body English, a silent signal, or a very low tone signal. But signals given to other wolves, dogs to other dogs, find themselves in three reasons or three causes. One, to maintain the distance here, to expand the distance, meaning you go away from me, or to decrease the distance, meaning I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you. Why do I want to come to you? Because now you can't miss these signals I'm giving you. See, how many fingers am I holding up? Versus if I'm 100 yards back. And two, the closer I am to you, the more influence I have over your response. That's why they do it. So here comes us humans. And we say, hey Fido, way over there. Announcing ourselves to the whole wide world. Come. The instinct that's in this animal's brain must right then, the very first time, go, seriously? What the heck was that? You mean you want me to go from here all the way over there to your little lazy butt? All the way over there, huh? Really? You just yelled at me? It must be really weird for them, because there is no intrinsic well to dip into. It is bone dry. However, it really does work for owning a dog if you can go against that grain and build a behavior that was never there in the first place. All right, so how do we get it done? It's not hard. This is not rocket science. All Come When Called requires is a good head on your shoulders, meaning don't dare give the command unless you can make the command happen. That's called discipline. It's called sweat equity. But there's nothing magical about it. When I taught Captain to come when called, and when Joshua taught his dog to come when called, and thousands of my clients over the decades, we attach a leash to them. And then we go ways away from them, or they go away from us. It doesn't matter. I prefer if the dog goes away from me. And then we usher out our stereotype signal. Captain, come. And then when the dog arrives, we give the dog a benefit for coming. Okay, over and over again. Free. Captain, come. Over and over again. Over, like a broken record. Over and over again. If you have the discipline to make sure you don't give this command unless you can make it happen, you will get there. You hear those words? You will get there. Now, this is a very long line I have on Captain. This was well over 50 feet. So in the beginning, several hundred. Hear that word? It's two words. Several hundred. Meaning more than one. Over and over repetition, calling the dog on the long line, held in my hands. The dog can see the line in my hands. You bet you can. Come, every single time. Over and over again. Over and over again. Okay, then we experiment. When the dog is coming so quickly, you're going, man, I can't even take up this line fast enough. Now it's time for the line to go on the ground. And now I can say, free. Go somewhere, go away from me, buzz off. Tiloo, maybe I'll throw a treat over here in the grass somewhere. Free, go get that treat. Captain, come. And now we have him coming, dragging a long line, dragging it. And had he not come to me, all I had to do was make the effort to reach down, grab the line, and make it happen. I cannot tell you how many lines I've had over the years. Sometimes you walk in my garage and you think I live in a fishing village. I've got 10-foot lines, 100-foot line, 200-foot line, 300-foot lines. You bet. Run around out there, because then when I see my dog, I go, there's my lovely dog Captain over there. What a fine animal he is. I need to call him. So now I simply search for the line. And my favorite color, by the way, is orange. As I write in my blog, and as I said last week, a dog's vision is dichromatic, meaning he sees the pure colors of blue and green and the combination that they make. They do not see orange very well. It's in a different wavelength. However, we humans see it wonderfully. In fact, it's right in the middle of our color wavelengths. Hence why traffic cones are orange. Hunting vests are orange. You don't want the other hunter shooting you. So I like orange because I can see it really easily, but Captain can't. So therefore, buzz off, free. He doesn't see the line that's attached to him. And now I can go, Captain, come. Come. And now, come. So then he's searching for that little treat. And as you see there, I was able to make the command happen. So we'll do that again. Throw that over there. Captain, come. And again, the treat beats me. So now I use my long line and call him back over to me. See how it's tangled around his body? Don't worry about that, and make sure you reward him when he comes back. Don't worry about that. They'll get themselves untangled on the way. But here's the deal. You saw right there, that treat beat me. It beat me. That was the benefit, not coming to me. That's why I did that, so you could see that. I knew he was going to do that. He likes that darn treat, likes it a lot. So I use it as a training tool because he's super motivated for that treat. But again, you guys see the same thing. I was able to make the dog go from point A to point B. Okay, the next step, when your dog is doing that, you've got it hooked up to a long line, you're calling your dog, and you can't remember the last time you actually had to pick up the leash to call the dog. Then, what I recommend, depending upon how well your dog needs to be able to do this, how far out away from you that you will allow the dog to be, that's really up to you. Depends upon where you live, the capabilities of even doing that. But then, our transition that we like to do is rotate straight from a long line into a remote training collar. And again, hey, everyone out here, I'm at Shelby Farms. And Joshua, come over here, please. What is that there to hang off your hip?
Off my hip?
Yes.
It's a remote training collar.
Oh, Lord. Remember what happened to our client Michael a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. I could only hope. So anyway, we use remote training collars. Why? Because they don't shock dogs, and I'm not going to even get on that little soapbox today. I'm going to stay off of it, but it allows us to touch our dogs at a distance. Now, Captain is wearing one right now, and I can control him from a little transmitter, little receiver or button here on my palm. I can just go boom, press the button, he feels a signal. How much does he feel? That's up to me. It's up to him actually, because if I press it and he ignores me, then I know I need to turn it up. How much do I turn it up? Till he finally responds. That's all a signal is supposed to be. Whether it be a hey you to a hey you on the long line, that's a physical haptic signal, to hey you, press the button. Or like Joshua, press the button. All it is, allow us to touch the dog without touching him with a leash. Still a touch, and the rule still applies. How hard do I touch? Enough to influence the dog's behavior. Enough to influence its behavior. That's all it has to be. So again, if Joshua has his on level 20 out of 100, he goes, come, nothing happens, he gets R0 or R2, the dog starts to go away from him, then he turns it up because he's going to make R1 happen. All the way to a point that we know for sure the dog will indeed respond. That's all a signal is. Influence that behavior. Again, when you break it all the way down to those fundamental levels, guys, anything after that doesn't really become difficult. All right, Joshua, can you call your dog, please?
Vesper, come.
Very good. And your remote training collar, Joshua, tell us a little bit real quickly, what level is it on right now?
So right now her main stimulus, which is basically what you could consider her first warning, is at a 22, so you're actually really close. And then if I were to need to turn it up, this specific model allows for a jump button or a boost button that will take that 22 up to actually a 42, and that will get her attention pretty darn quickly. Kind of goes as a black button doesn't get their attention, red button will.
Good deal. If you guys want to know more about remote training collars, you can definitely give us a call, or you can read a blog that I wrote, and also I have a video that is all about remote training collar fundamentals. For instance, the mistake that most people make with these electronic devices, Joshua, can you toss me your transmitter, please? Is they order one of these things, or they pick it up at their little local store, and unfortunately they think they just took possession of a remote control Not a remote training collar, but a remote control. And we're all kind of used to that. Channel 20, Channel 200, the Discovery Channel. Or maybe we're not. Maybe we're just used to say, hey Alexis, the Discovery Channel, please. And by the way, can you put a pizza in the oven for me? Yeah, we're just all this technology. Well, this is just technology, but know this. It's not a remote control. When we train dogs to respond to come when called with this device, in the beginning, it is both the leash and the device. So we set it at a level that the dog can just feel. And we say, Fido, come. And we press the button and hold it on the continuous mode, which means the dog will feel this sensation until you let go. And while we're holding it down, we're also reeling the dog in on a very familiar haptic signal, the leash. So there's two haptics. And at first your dog is probably going, oh, what the heck is that? And they're looking all over the place as you're reeling them in. But then when they get to you, you let go, it goes away. Now after a couple of hundred of those, your average dog, I'm talking about the average one, starts going, okay, so I know what this is. But that other thing, I have no clue what that is. But I have taken note. When that dude says come, it gets me. And when I get to him, it goes away. Bingo. That's all you need to know. That is all you need to know, dog. That is called pairing. Just like you would pair a Bluetooth device, headphones to your iPhone, so on and so forth, dogs will do what's called natural pairing. If you don't go through the low level, I can just feel it, pair it with a behavior, and instead just skip all of that and go right to a correction, your dog will make its own natural pairing, just like you would. If I were walking across this field, and then all of a sudden, duh, what the heck is that? That's exactly what I do. Jump about 3 feet in the air, look around immediately, go, what just got me? Something just got me. And if it kept getting me, I'd probably freak out, spin around like a dog, and take off running. And that's what happens, unfortunately. They go, Fido, come, check out this new thing I've got. Fido, come. Fido doesn't, so they turn it up. Oh, I'll make them come. It's got a lot of levels on it, honey. Boom. And next thing you know, Fido's running off to the next county. Because Fido doesn't know how to make it go away. Doesn't know how. You have to teach the dog that. You have to do pairing. Okay, but once we go through all that, here you go, Josh, I'm going to hand it back to you. We go through all of that. Here's the other things that you have to do. All along the way, when you call your dog to you, it is always a great thing. Hear that? Always a great thing. So meaning, if I have a kennel right here, and my dog hates the kennel, if that's the case, then do not call your dog. Fido, come. It arrives, and in the kennel you go. Or if your dog hates riding in the car because it's associated that with a trip to the vet, don't stand next to an open car door and call your dog. If your dog is like me and loves the great outdoors and hates the indoors, don't stand next to your back door initially and call your dog. If you must do these things, the dog must go in the kennel. The dog must go in the car, must come inside the house. Then step away from the kennel, step away from the car, go out into the yard, call your dog to you, make it happen, S1, R1. The dog arrives, bam, right then, big treat, big pet, great stuff. And then pause a few seconds and then take your dog to the car, inside or in the kennel. By doing that, the time lag between the event of going from point A to point B to you will never be paired with the end result, the end outcome of now being placed in the bad thing. So we never call our dogs to a bad thing, never call them over to you to punish them, pointed dog poop or whatever in your house, never do that. Come when called is golden, guys. It's one of the most difficult things to train your dog to do reliably. Treat it like gold. And that brings me to the last little point. Find gold. What is gold? I've had dogs, if you show them a ball, they didn't give a hoot. They didn't care. You'd be like, show me golf clubs. I don't care what model that is, how big the head is. You've got to find something that they really, 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 really care about. I've been known to use cheeseburgers, hot dog wieners, Velveeta cheese, you name it. I will find that thing that makes the animal go, you know what? I really do want to go after that squirrel, but there's a great benefit over there with Brian. I'm going to find that, because if they don't, oh yeah, I'm going to give them a correction. I'm not leaving it up to you. Yeah, there's going to be a benefit over here, even if I have to correct you. When you come back to me every single time, and I do mean every single time, there's a wonderful benefit, guys. No matter how frustrated you are. Come, oh my God, I'm having to drag him all the way over here. So be it. When he arrives, well done. Now, other times, you can use this. Like for Captain here, he loves his ball. And as you see there, the rest of the world just went away. So when I was first training him to come when called, here's what happened. The treat bag, even though he loves a treat, probably tell that a little bit by looking from that back end back there, the ball would be in my pouch. Captain, come. And when he would arrive, that is the only time he would get a ball. Good boy. And there goes the ball. Of course, I would throw it a little bit further away. And we had already gone through some stuff about it, and I used that moment when he went out to go after the ball to teach him to come. Because in the beginning, he didn't want to bring the ball back to me all the time. So I used that as an opportunity to get in a couple more repetitions and come. But man, he wanted that ball. So in other words, every single time he came, several hundred times, he arrived, he got a ball. That's called a scheduled reinforcement. And then here's what happened. He came, but no visible pouch. And then I switched it to a variable reinforcement. He came, he didn't get the ball. He just got, well done. Way to go, dude. And then he came again. Well done, way to go, dude. And then the next 2 times in a row, boom, there's the ball. Here's the ball. And then 3 times in a row, no ball. Then a ball, then no ball, then a ball. And I always hit it. And it went from here to in my pocket. Didn't have all the rope sticking out, just used a different type of ball. And now, I honestly think that he thinks I always have a ball on me. Because I hide them. And every now and then I'll just go, hey, there's a ball. And sure enough, it pops off my body like a jack in a box. There it goes, and he's after it. But it's really cool because once you can do this, and you have that come and call, man, life gets to be a lot of fun. Captain loves his ball. He'll just go. See him go? And you notice, he took off first. Sometimes it's hard for me to throw the ball past him. And you'll notice another funny behavior. He'll come up and deposit the ball right between my feet. Like right there he missed. So watch this, I'll just move over here a little bit. And just stand here. There we go. And I'll move again. Little OCD about that, I'll move again. And I'll move again. Somehow or another, at some point, the little neurons in his brain made a connection that if he bugs me enough, puts it between my feet enough, I'll throw it again. So let me show it to you one more time. It's just a lot of fun. Take my ball, he's gone. And I really hope I didn't throw it in the lake. No, I didn't. Thank goodness. Cow dog. All right. Down. So once you have that, you can do all sorts of combination, guys. You can have all sorts of fun. You can now walk away from your dog, and all of a sudden, Captain, come, and then throw the ball even right before he even gets to you. And that's called speeding the dog up, making the come when called really fast, really fast. This is the fun part of the training. the really fun part. And know this, when Captain was first learning this, he was running that speed, dragging a 100-foot line behind him. He got so used to having the line on him, he didn't even notice it. He paid it no attention. But in case he didn't come, that's what I did. I made him reach down, grab that line, and made him come. Joshua, show how you built speed in Vesper by doing that same thing. How she comes to you slowly, but then all of a sudden you produce something, and now she goes quickly.
Free. Go. She's convinced I've got something for her.
Well, you do, don't you?
I do, yeah. So what I'll do, I'm just going to throw her something and then call her off of it. How about that?
How about that, okay?
Come here. Vesper, come! That's a good girl. Oh, there you go. Out.
And then you're doing a combination of come and call and tug of war.
Yep.
There you go.
And then we've got,
Oh. There goes Captain. He's gone. Now look at he's down there like a typical dog. Where is it? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
whoa, I don't trust either one of you.
Yeah.
Out. All done.
Captain, come. Down.
So kind of like how you just present these toy and Captain takes off running.
Yes.
Vespers is I give her a command that gives her momentum to take off, which is come around. So all I say is, and I'm yeah, Captain's watching me like a hawk over there. All I say to her is, come around. So she knows I always have 3 toys on me, and that's why I have this little pouch on my vest here, so I can conceal those toys. And she likes to run around with that ball. She doesn't always bring that right back to me. So I'll have her bring it. Vesper, come! Thank you. Now, I only have 2 toys now, and I'll just tell her, find it. Go find it. She knows to go find something. Find it. Go. Thank you, good girl. There you go. So just a bunch of combinations of different games you can play once the dog is trustworthy enough to come back to you.
Yeah, and then again, guys, before these dogs were trustworthy that we could throw the balls like we're doing half into the darn lake and everything, they were doing this again, and I can't say this enough, under conditions in which we could guarantee the outcome. They were dragging long lines. And if you're wondering where can you get a long line, just go to your local hardware store. Buy a couple of clasps, buy a big spool of line. I recommend that you do not, I'll say this one more time, do not use parachute cord, paracord. You put your foot on that while Captain's running that fast or Vesper's running that fast, within 2 seconds you'll look down and your foot will be on fire. Don't use paracords. Really lightweight, that's really neat, but they do just fine with a good old cotton or nylon rope. Use clothesline rope. And then I just recommend if you do buy a spool of white clothesline rope, go home and with a can of spray paint, just spray paint part of it so you can see it. But now, free. And neither one of these dogs are going to free. I tell them free, but here's their choice. They know. We've already let the genie out of the bottle. We have toys on our bodies. And we trained them to do that. We took advantage of the fact that they love the toy, and we said, tell you what, you know, there's going to be a few times you don't come and you're going to get a correction. That's just given. That's going to happen. I need reliability. I need to know that when I call you, it's going to happen. Or I need to know I can make it happen. Either way, until I finally get to that point where the two just merged together. But the one thing you can guarantee, dogs, that every time you show up, it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful event. All right, guys, one last throw here. Captain. All right, that's it. I thank you guys for tuning in. If you live here locally, try and get out here today. It's a beautiful day out here at Shelby Farms. But no matter what, guys, come when called. Saves lives, both dog and human. It increases my desire to own my dog, lowers my blood pressure. It is the golden command. No rocket science. Apply what I told you. Just keep doing it over and over again, and you'll get it there. Guys, we'll see you next week. Certainly enjoyed having you out here on this beautiful day. Take care.